Okay, if we can get started. Let me first say that I would like to welcome the Assistant Attorney General over the Civil Rights Division, Christian Clark, to the city of Houston. It's good to have you back. And the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, Alendar S. Hamdani. And we're glad that you're both here. When I was first sworn in as mayor back in January of 2016, I said that I didn't want to be the mayor of two cities in one, a city of have and have-nots. And from day one, we have been focused and have focused our attention on addressing the needs and the lack of investments in many communities that have been underserved and under-resourced for literally decades. Parks, green space, housing, business and job opportunities, and including illegal dumping. For me, for a person who grew up in the hood and still live in that same hood, these things were personal and continue to be personal. And so I have to be very honest with you. It was a little bit disappointed, and I was a little bit disappointed with the initial third-party complaint and premise behind the Department of Justice investigation that the city was somehow neglecting underserved communities in our response to illegal dumping. As someone who grew up and still lives in these neighborhoods and whose life work has been to lift these neighborhoods, and who as mayor has prioritized the needs of communities of color that are historically under-resourced and underserved, who built a complete communities model that is a blueprint for public-private investments in neighborhoods, revitalization, and who has worked throughout this administration to fight environmental injustice, to have an allegation like that, despite all we have done and continue to do, was a little bit deflating. But ultimately, through our meetings and sharing of information, strategies and approaches and plans, the deployment of resources, working together, we recognize that the Department of Justice, as well as the City of Houston, that we share common ground on these issues. This is something we both care deeply about, and we both want to address now and into the future. We both acknowledge illegal dumping disproportionately plagues communities of color, Black and brown communities in Houston, and many municipalities throughout our country and beyond. We both recognize that cities are inadequately resourced to eradicate illegal dumping in these communities, even though we spend millions of dollars a year and countless hours on this problem. And most importantly, we both recognize that this goes beyond garbage, and it is about how do we transform these communities for the better. How do we improve their quality of life, and how do we make it better for families and children who are growing up in these cities, walking on the streets in these communities? How do we make their quality of life better? This is about safety, economic and social equity. It's about respect and love for our community and our home. Everyone deserves the right to live in a healthy and safe environment, and we are all responsible for keeping our communities clean and free of dumping and other environmental hazards. With this voluntary resolution, we are in mutual agreement to move together as partners towards a solution to carry forward a shared vision of one clean Houston. Progress is already being made, but the work and all of the elements of our One Clean Houston must continue. Since we launched the One Clean Houston initiative in March, the city has reduced its response time to illegal dumping by 75% from last year. We are now responding to 311 reported illegal dump sites in 11 days on average, compared to 49 days in 2022. In the last 3 months, we've collected over 2,900 dump sites and approximately 20,000 tons of debris, 24% more than this time last year. We filed 110 criminal charges on violators since January this year, which is over 4 times the number of charges filed the same time last year. And we are about to double the number of law enforcement officers focused on this issue with a pending agreement with Precinct 1 Constable Alan Rosen and working with the City of Houston HPD Chief Fenner. The community is also joining the fight like never before. We are hosting a community lunch and learn immediately after this press conference to engage the public in the effort, and we are releasing the community toolkit today, which will serve as a playbook for community members and neighborhood groups to tackle this issue. This has been a team effort, and I want to acknowledge all of my directors and their teams for their commitments to this cause. But I also want to thank the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Section and the U.S. Attorney's Office for being clear-eyed during this entire investigation, to being committed to the needs of our community, to working with the City of Houston at all levels, and letting the data and the facts tell the story. We're going to continue to follow the data and measure how these strategies are working, and you know we'll be pressing until my last day in office for more resources to find a sustainable solution to these problems. And finally, I'd like to thank the community for saying enough is enough and for their direct involvement. We are not going to solve this issue without the community stepping up to dispose of trash in the right way, to report dumping and violators, and to raise awareness with their neighborhoods, their friends, and their families. And we must all work together to create one clean Houston. And in that vein, let me thank my Vice Mayor Pro Tem, Martha Castek Tatum, Council Member Carlos Cisneros, Council Member Letitia Plummer, Council Member Tasha Jackson, and all of the others who are not here, and a special thanks to Chief Troy Fenner and his entire team, and all of our directors. But most importantly, let me thank the people in the City of Houston, and especially those who live in communities that are underserved and under-resourced. And finally, let me just say to the Attorney General over Civil Rights Division, Kristen Clark, who I've had the privilege of talking to and listening to on many occasions, let me thank you for personally being here and for your direct involvement in this initiative. By working together with the Department of Justice and our Council for the Southern District of Texas, collectively, I believe we have made a significant step in improving the quality of life for everyone who lives in our city. Sometimes things don't have to be contentious. Sometimes by working together, we can end up with a better product. And I believe today, working together in collaboration, in tandem, in partnership, we have ended up with a much better result. So thank you so very much.